Hey everyone, welcome to the show. My name's Mehak Dhaliwal, and I'm going to be stepping in for Karthik tonight as he's away. And I'm really excited and looking forward to tonight's First Canada Live episode, especially as we get to dig into some of the experiences from our recent two championship events, both for First LEGO League and for First Tech Challenge. It's super exciting because we're going to get to experience the events through the lens of each event's top team. And as you all know, First Canada Live is a show where we get together with teams and different folks from our community to talk about robots, stories, and any community initiatives. But before we get started, I want to acknowledge that as Canadians, it's important to recognize the land of which we are a part of. We begin our show by acknowledging the Indigenous peoples of all the lands that we are on today. While we meet on a virtual platform, we must take a moment to acknowledge the importance of the land which we each call home. We do this to reaffirm our commitment and responsibility in improving relationships between nations and our own understanding of local Indigenous peoples and their cultures. From coast to coast and north to south, we acknowledge the ancestral and unceded territories of all of the Inuit, Métis, and First Nations people that call this nation home. So please join us in a moment of reflection to acknowledge the harms and mistakes of the past and to consider how we can each, in our own way, move forward in a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. All right, so before we get the show started, I have a co-host to introduce. We have our first youth council member, Radean from Team 16488, and a mentor of Team 22101, and a recent finalist for the first leadership award. Hey, Radean, how's it going?
Hi, it's been going really, really great. Thanks. How are you?
I'm doing really well. I'm super excited for today's show. I know we got some really awesome things going on, especially getting to chat with some FTC and FLL teams. And I know that you're on an FTC team right now. How's your experience going and how's the youth council going?
Uh, we just came back from a double all-nighter at prom, so it's been a bit tiring. But yeah, youth council has been amazing. It's always so fun to meet all of the youth council people at this FTC profs. They were at FLL kickoff. They were at Youth Summit. So it's just an amazing, amazing experience.
Oh, that's awesome. I've been seeing a lot of really cool posts from the Youth Council on First Canada's Instagram, and I know you guys are always up to some awesome stuff. So that's good to hear, and hopefully you get some time to like rest and recharge after your double all-nighter, which sounds so intense. But I can imagine lots of work is going on behind the scenes. But maybe let's go through a quick outline of what today's segment is going to look like. We have one of our first LEGO League Challenge Ontario Provincial Championship Award winners, Team 27757, ConnecTech, that's going to be joining us. We also have the first Tech Challenge Ontario Provincial Championship Inspire Award winners, Team 19500, RoBEARtics. And we have a segment with Shanika, First Canada Special Projects Coordinators, to show us something really cool and exciting, which I'm really looking forward to. So throughout the show, if you folks have any questions at all, feel free to post them into the chat and someone will try to answer them either live on air. And just remember that we're here to have some fun, celebrate excellence in our community. We have lots of exciting things going on, especially with First LEGO Leave, FTC, FRC is coming up really soon. So there's lots of excitement and so much to celebrate going on within First. This is becoming a really busy time of the year. So, Regina, I actually had a question for you. I wanted to understand, how do you focus on wellness?
Yeah, I personally really love going outside and taking walks around my neighborhood. Even during the winter, I think just getting some fresh air, seeing nature, and taking a moment to disconnect from all of the pressures of school and robotics and extracurriculars, and even our phones can be really, really helpful to kind of reset and take a moment to be with our thoughts and be with ourselves.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think it's always really nice to give yourself that break, especially when there's so much happening around you, and take that moment to reflect or just be by yourself for a little bit. So I love that idea about going outside and taking some walks. I definitely am going to try to implement that more, especially once the snow calms down a little bit. But yeah, thanks for sharing that. I guess we can dive into some of our news updates. So the first update that we have is First Canada Live. We have a new show schedule, which you can find out by subscribing on Twitch. Our producer Julia is going to drop the link into the chat soon. The link that's actually being dropped is really exciting. We are now on a podcast. So you can find us on Spotify and Apple. You can listen to our First Canada Live episodes while you're on the go. I know I love listening to podcasts, especially when I'm driving sometimes or just going on a walk. So this is a great time to tune into First Canada Live or watch some previous episodes if you missed out. We also have our Ontario Team Slack. So if you haven't joined that group already, feel free to join that group. We got that link going in the chat as well on Twitch, which is really awesome. There's a bunch of different channels on there that you can join for FTC or FRC. It's lots of great support and ways to connect with mentors or get advice from some other teams. I was scrolling through some of the channels recently and I found some channels around like buying and selling different pieces that you might be looking for. So lots of cool sustainability initiatives as well, which is awesome. And one of our last updates that we have is for First Canada alumni and how they can stay connected with us. So you can follow the link that's being put into the chat to stay connected with the First Canada Alumni Network. You can find more details about our quarterly newsletter, our LinkedIn group, any career connections to our sponsors, and so much more on there. So feel free to check out that as well. So we got lots of awesome things going on. And I know as a First Canada alumni myself, this group has been really great to help me make some connections, especially once you're kind of done going through FTC and FRC. There's lots of really good ways to stay connected with the community, which is super awesome. But yeah, I think those are all of our kind of updates for today. We got lots of links in our Twitch channel, but make sure to check them out and try to take advantage of any of the groups and communities that we have built for different folks in First. So we'll be right back after a word from one of our sponsors, Hatch.
When I was applying for co-ops, I was really looking for a place that would allow me to have the greatest amount of experience. And since Hatch is such a big company, I knew that I would be able to get involved with all the different groups that the company offers.
What surprised me about working at Hatch was the amount of responsibility that you're given very quickly, like once you start.
There's so many opportunities to learn, not just from specialists in the field, but also from something like Lunch and Learns, or even Safety Shares. So it's not something technical that I'm learning, but something that might help me in my everyday life.
For me to be able to just walk into their office and ask them whatever I want, to schedule a meeting whenever I want, to be able to work directly with them on building things was an insanely good experience.
As a student, I am as much valued as the other employees that are here.
I enjoy working here because people are very friendly, and this environment that they created has been more than absolute perfect.
All right, thank you to Hatch for one of our sponsors. We got lots of great sponsors here for First, and we're really grateful for all of their support. So Radean, I know the next thing that we're going to be talking about is actually one of our FLL teams. I was wondering if you've been to any FLL competitions in the past, any experience with that? Oh, I think you're muted. Happens all the time.
Yeah, no. I mean, personally, I've only ever been to the FLL kickoff, but I've seen some of the clips of FLL teams and especially what they do with their various projects at such a young age. It's really, really inspiring to see. And so I'm so excited to hear more from ConnecTech.
Yeah, we got a really amazing and inspiring team for us. We have our first LEGO League Challenge Ontario Provincial Championship Champions Award winners, team 27757 ConnecTech from North York. I'd love for you all to introduce yourselves.
Hi, we're Team ConnecTech 27757. I'm Luke and I'm in grade 8.
I'm Salima and I'm in grade 6. I'm Eric and I'm in grade 6.
I'm Sabrina and I'm in grade 8.
I'm Grace and I'm in grade 6.
I'm Ivan and I'm in grade 8.
I'm Naya and I'm in grade 7.
I'm Andrew and I'm in grade 8.
And we're Team ConnecTech.
Awesome. I know that you all have been working really hard throughout this season and doing a lot of awesome work. And both Radean and I and everyone is super excited and super proud of all of you. I know that you have a quick team video to share and kind of walk us through one of your projects. So we're really looking forward to it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I think we're just going to get that video pulled up. But in the meantime, ConnecTech, has there been a favorite moment throughout the season for you all or anything that was really exciting and memorable?
one of my favorite moments of this season was being able to work together to come up and do a bunch of cool things, like building our robot and creating our cool innovation project.
One of my favorite things was just seeing how big of an impact our innovation would actually have on the archaeological community. I thought that was really eye-opening and exciting. My favorite part was testing our innovation on outside our school on our hill.
My favorite part is actually coming up. It's when we're going to get to represent Canada and our school at the World competition. My favorite part is all of us coming together and innovating to create an awesome project.
Favorite part was building the innovation project.
My favorite part is just being part of a team and a community that can really just make something awesome all together.
My favorite part was like making friends with this.
That's awesome. There's so many cool memories that all of you have made or pieces of work that you've done, whether it be your robot or innovation challenge. And I know that there's such cool parts of FLL that you get to both work on a robot and also an innovation challenge that's really impactful. So it's awesome that all of you have been having such a great experience. I know I saw one of our producers pull up the video, so I think we can take a quick look at that right now and see what your team has been up to. That's awesome. I know that even though that video didn't have any sound with it, seeing everyone get so excited once you won the award, running down the stairs, I feel like that brings back like all of the nostalgia from FRC, FLL, and FTC events. There's so much fun energy and excitement, and I'm sure, Radean, you've also experienced that when you're at events, just like the energy around you. So that's super awesome, and I know we're all really excited to hear about your innovation challenge and your project. So I think we can bring out your slides and have you all share more with us.
Sure, thank you. Can we have the next slide, please? Right, so it all started when we were trying to think of an idea. So archaeologists told us that we need 1 by 1 meter, that they need 1 by 1 meter grids to record artifacts precisely. Right now they're using strings and tape methods. They can be slow, messy, and easy to mess up. Uneven ground can make it hard or even impossible to grid a site. And if you want professional surveying equipment to make it easier, it can cost over $50,000, which is way too much for small archaeology firms that are just starting up. Our team felt really passionate about this problem, so we came to our solution, Gridlock. Gridlock is the next generation of precision gridding. It has 4 telescoping legs, a light aluminum frame, and omnidirectional bubble levels. You might be asking how it works. Well, 4 lasers shine down on the ground, showing you exactly where to place your stakes. It really is such a time saver and is so much more efficient. Normally, it would take 2 people 20 minutes to grid, but with Gridlock, 1 person can do it in under 5 minutes. It's also caused such a big impact. Gridlock transformed the archaeological fieldwork. It makes gridding more precise, efficient, effective, and affordable. Less time gridding means more time to dig, explore, and discover. We're so grateful for all of the archaeologist experts that we got to meet, and we got so many great quotes for them. And they gave us so much great feedback, which has led us to have 7 iterations. If you want to see more of Gridlock, Check out our demo video in the top right corner. Next slide, please. Meet our robots, Waddles and Twaddles, and our attachments. The snake, the thwacker, the scorpion, T-Rex, and my personal favorite, Lionel Messi. In total, so far, we've coded 13 out of the 15 missions using these 5 attachments in 4 robot runs. Next slide, please. Our robot design and robot game. You might be wondering why we have 2 bots. Well, we have 2 bots to promote inclusion, productivity, experimentation, and to plan for possible contingencies. We actually had to utilize this plan at a regional competition when Waddles was malfunctioning, and we needed to use Twaddles for our last official robot run. You might also be wondering why we use block coding. Well, we use it because of its team-wide familiarity, the fact that it's easy to use, has fewer coding errors, and that it allows for faster testing cycles. When coding, programming, and designing our attachments, we always made sure to include inclusivity and teamwork during our practices and at tournaments. Our team empowers every member to contribute to the robot game at tournaments and during practice in ways that both honor and utilize people's individual strengths and comfort levels. Our mission strategy always aims for efficiency, and we prioritize missions based on difficulty, reliability, point value, and travel distance. Next slide, please.
So this is everyone from the ConnecTech family, and we just wanted to share all of our favorite core values. And along with core values, at the beginning of every practice and at the end of the practice, we have a practice journal. So we would all meet as a team and we would all discuss the things we wanted to complete in the practice, and then at the end, what we had completed and what our next steps were for tomorrow's practice. So at the bottom of the practice journal, we would have a core value highlight of the day. So some examples are when we had a mindfulness minute, or when we had a soccer game with 2 of the other FLL teams at our school, and it just displayed something fun we did that followed any of the core values. Another thing we did was motivational Mondays. So every practice we had on a Monday, each of our teammates would take a turn giving a quote to help motivate everyone and push us through the practice. At the top of the page, we have a QR code which can lead you to our Team ConnecTech family song, which we had professionally recorded, and we would love if you could scan and listen to it. Thank you.
That was so awesome, Team ConnecTech. I'm so impressed by your innovation project and your robots. I know we got a couple comments in the chat saying how awesome your robot names were, which I totally agree with. And Radean, I know you have a couple questions for our team as well. So do you want to ask those away?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just curious, why'd you choose that topic for your innovation project? And then adding on to that, it's so cool that you were able to talk with professional archaeologists and people who work in that field. And I'm just curious, how'd you go about talking to them? And what do you think your favorite part in talking to them, in learning from them was?
We found our problem by talking to a lot of experts, and we put all the problems in an evaluation matrix, and we rated all of them based on usability, feasibility, impact, cost, and other criteria. And after debating a lot of sketches and prototypes, we came to gridlock.
Also, when talking to many experts, a lot of them told us that grading was a big problem they faced. So that's when ConnecTech decided that grading was a problem that we wanted to solve.
That's awesome. I know, especially the evaluation matrix, I think that's really cool that your team decided to use that. In some of like the different internships or work that I've done, we use evaluation matrix a lot to like assess different projects and ideas. So it's super cool that you're implementing a lot of these like kind of workplace solutions when you're deciding your project. And I loved all of the different criteria that you had. I know that all of you have told us about your favorite part of FLL and kind of one of your favorite memories earlier from the season. I'd love to hear, maybe you can tell us about a really cool thing that your robot can do. You have really cool names, but is there something super cool or that you're really proud of for your robot?
So we created a really innovative way to solve a mission.
The intended solution for this mission is to push this red lever over and over again to lift this thing. But instead, we used gears to spin the gears and lift it faster and more efficient.
This is also why we named this attachment Vinyl Meshy, because we want this to mesh with the attachment. We also like to chant while we're doing it, mesh, 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 mesh.
That's awesome. So much team spirit and so much energy and lots of creativity in your robot, which is super exciting. I think the mesh chant really gets it to mesh faster, you know, it just helps so much more. I think without the mesh chant. Exactly. So that's awesome. I loved your kind of I guess like the journal that you keep to think about your first practice at the beginning of the practice versus at the end of the practice. And I know you mentioned that you had a soccer team with some of the other FLL teams in your school. I was wondering if there's anything else that your team has done this season for fun that you found super exciting that you want to share.
One of our favorite core values highlights of the day was when we gleefully consumed a 50-pack of Timbits. That was definitely one of our favorites, and it was a very delicious one.
I have a question for you then. Do you have a favorite Timbit flavor? Is there one that you're like?
Chocolate.
Honey dip.
Awesome, awesome. I hear a lot of chocolate, and that's personally what I like. I think chocolate is superior, but I also heard some honey dip, so I'm not gonna say anything and sway the odds into one side. Radean, do you have a favorite Timbit flavor?
Yeah, personally, it's got to be either honey glazed or chocolate Timbits.
Awesome. I love getting Timbits and doing like half chocolate and half for me I personally do birthday cake, but instead of doing assorted, because sometimes then you get like the powdered ones and the random ones that you're like
That's what we do.
don't really want.
Yeah.
I love that. That's awesome. And 50 Timbits in one day. I know the sugar was really helping your robots mesh and finish all of your tasks for the day. So that's awesome. And I don't know if anyone in the chat or that's watching on Twitch has any favorite Timbits that you guys can everyone can drop into the chat so we can figure out if the debate is chocolate or honey dip and see who wins. But this is awesome. Thank you all for sharing so much. We have a couple more questions for you, and we'd love to hear a little bit more about your team. I know you talked a bit about your core values that you include in your team and everyone's favorite core value. Can you tell us a bit more about maybe if there's a specific thing that you do to include more core values into your team?
Another way that we include core values and really make sure that everyone's included in the process is at the beginning of every practice, we would think about what we have to get done and allow people to choose what they want to do. So then we can be more efficient, and that also make sure that everyone gets a role in the process.
Also with the robot, some people we all have different skill levels. So we would help the people with higher skill levels. We would pair them people maybe with a little bit less skill levels, so that everyone's getting an equal amount of time to program the robot and to work on it.
Yeah, and an example of this is that I was new to the FL team this year, but I think that my team was really including me in the process, and I didn't know how to code as much as all of them. So yeah, they really just brought me up to speed, and they gave me a full PIV lesson, and yeah, it was really great.
We could also all learn from the FLL kickoff that was hosted at our school, and some of us actually hosted some of the things, so we could all gain a greater understanding.
We also had a Teams chat where we would share where we post our codes after the day, and anyone could pick them up and start innovating.
That's awesome. I love that so much. I think especially being able to work on parts of the robot or show skills that maybe you haven't developed as much yet is a really important kind of skill. And it's so great that your team is including that and to make sure everyone on the team is learning equally. I know sometimes for myself, like if I'm really good at something, that's kind of what I want to stick to. And then versus something else that I'm still learning, I'm like, oh, I don't know if I have enough experience to experiment with that or build on that. But it's really nice that your team creates that environment for everyone to build some of the skills that they maybe don't have as much experience in. Radean, do you have any other questions for our ConnecTech team?
Yeah, I'm just curious, how did it feel, getting that award, hearing your name be announced, and finding out that you'd be able to go to Worlds?
I think that for me, and I'm pretty sure all of us, it was just like it was amazing and outstanding and shocking, but it was so awesome to see how all of our work and our weekends and all the work that the mentors put in and everything just come to life. And yeah, it was really cool.
And coming out of that competition as a team, we're also very excited to represent our school and Canada at the competition coming up in May. Also, it's just going to be amazing to see the impact that gridlock will already have, and will continue to have with archaeologists working in the field.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to do amazing things. And on the notion of your school and your families, I mean, how thrilled were they to hear that you'd be going to Texas to compete internationally? I'm sure it must have been amazing.
But yeah, lots of cheering, excitement.
We love that. And especially, I love gridlock. I know that for currently at university, I'm in my final year, so we have a capstone project coming up, and everyone's working on different projects. I think this is totally something that someone in my capstone would love to work on. My teammates are probably a huge fan of this. I can't wait to tell them about this after the show is over and show them your demo video because that's awesome. And can I see? I think that's behind you all. Is that what you got behind you there?
Yeah. You can see our terrain model of the problem, and then this is gridlock. I can turn on the lasers for you. Lasers. I don't know if you can see them.
That's awesome. I love that so much. And I love that you've kind of built it out. I think that's so cool, especially with the terrain model that looks super awesome. Um, Thank you all again, ConnecTech 27757 for sharing so much about your team. We're all really excited and super proud of you.
Come win some Canada merch at our pit in Houston. We're so excited to represent Canada and Big U Glen. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much for sharing. See you all soon. And before we move on to our next segment, let's throw it over to our sponsors to hear a word from them. All right, everyone, we're back. A big thank you to Magna for being a continuous sponsor of First. So we're moving on to our next segment, FTC Provincials Recap. I know, Radean, you've been a part of FTC for the past 3 years, so how's your time going and what's your favorite part about FTC so far?
Yeah, I mean, I think especially this provincials and seeing how high the level of competition in Ontario has come, it's been really, really amazing to see. And I think the best part about FTC, especially in Ontario, is that sense of community that you get, where so many of the different teams get to talk to one another, to motivate one another, to push one another, to really perform the best that they can. And I think that's helped not just me, but a lot of the other students and a lot of the other teams grow so that Canada becomes a really, really competitive region on the international stage.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And honestly, that's one of like my kind of favorite things about First is like the cooperation. I didn't really know that word before I joined First. And it's really you get to learn from all of these teams that are your competition, but you're kind of collaborating with them and learning from them, and everyone is building each other up. So it's so awesome that you're able to see we're able to see that at FTC. And we actually have a guest joining us today. So we have Lisa Ramraj, our FTC program manager at First Robotics Canada, to talk a little bit about the events. And we're so excited to have you here. Hey, Lisa.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. Yeah, our championship whirlwind, still sort of like reeling from it. Having 36 teams from across the province compete was really cool. We had teams from everywhere, from Windsor to Sudbury, Owen Sound, Ottawa, and like just everywhere in between, which is just really cool to like those teams will typically like play in their own kind of areas because we do have competitions, qualifying competitions all across, but having them all come together and get to see the teams that they've never seen before. We've even this year, I think we probably had the most amount of rookie teams qualify. I think there was 9 rookie teams qualified for the provincials, which was just super cool. Imagine your first year, you get to go to like one of the biggest events. So I really hope they had a great time. And we really tried to do like little things to help foster that community. So like with our team social, having a couple games and like a bracelet making station, all of that kind of fun stuff happening at the same time as the event. But yeah, I am super proud. Of all the teams that competed, it was really fun watching them compete and watching the robots in the fields and just watching the teams interact with each other was really cool.
Oh, that's awesome. I heard something about a duck or
Yes,
yeah.
there was you can kind of see these are like the provincial championship ducks. The smaller one was from last year, the bigger one is from this year. Ducks are kind of a pseudo mascot theme for FTC in Ontario. There's kind of a lore behind that, but Brock University has really embraced it, and this year they surprised all of us, including myself. I had no idea this was happening with a 15-foot duck rubber duck to welcome all of the teams to the space. So as soon as like you drove up to like unload or like as you're on that road to get to the parking for the event, you're like, oh, I am in the right place because there is a huge rubber duck there and like that's like FTC Ontario. That's perfect. So that was a really interesting and fun way to start the day for sure. Seeing that just like there in your face was really cool.
Oh, that's awesome. I know we have I think Swaggy P on Twitch. I want to put in a request for that like massive size duck for First Canada merch. I don't know if it's possible, but hopefully we can make it happen because honestly the photo that you all were showing was it was huge. It was so cool.
Gigantic, yes. Larger than life for
That's
sure.
we need to bring that everywhere. We need to make it happen. Thank you to Brock. But we're meeting with one of our Inspire Award winners, one of our teams. So let's bring them out. We got our Inspire Award winners and members of the Winning Alliance at the FTC Provincial Championship and heading to the first championship team 19500 RoBEARtics from Scarborough, Ontario. Hey everyone, how are you?
Hey, we are RoBEARtics 19500. My name is Anshen. I'm the co-captain.
And my name's Ivan. I'm on the engineering team.
And my name is Emily, and I'm one of the media and outreach leads for this year. We're so excited to be here.
We're
Thank
super
you.
excited to have you. We got lots of questions for you all. We know that you're the Inspire Award winners and a part of the Winning Alliance, which is like so awesome. Just kind of winning all over the place. This is amazing. Can you tell us a little bit about what part of your team do you think is like most inspirational, and tell us a little bit more about your Inspire Award?
I think one of the more inspirational parts of our team is that despite having so many things going on in our life, like our own academics, we still continue to strive to make a difference in our community. So every week we still go out for mentoring, we have workshops, and additionally, I think our great sense of humor is another thing that makes us super inspirational. Emily, do you have a joke for us?
Yeah, I actually do have a joke for you guys. So what do you guys call a team that really enjoys robotics, but also really likes bears? RoBEARtics. Was that funny? Our sharp sense of humor, as you may know it. Yeah. Sorry,
That
I'm
was
so
great.
sorry. I was
No,
like,
that was great.
It's like this positive mindset keeps us going through our competitions, no matter the stress.
I love that so much. If I'm ever at a FTC event, I'm gonna be at your pit waiting to hear some jokes because that was pretty funny. And you have your bear mascot with you as well, which is
Yeah.
super awesome. Do
I
you have a
like that
name
he's
for your
holding
bear?
the trophy. It's just like, yes, this is mine. I won the trophy.
Yes, its name is Bering Jr. Another joke, Bering.
That's a great name. I love it. It's
Thank
much
you.
more creative than my name. For my little bear that comes with me to all the competitions is just named Bear because I couldn't think of anything else at the time. So
okay, they're twinning.
yes, exactly. We needed to get a picture together. But I usually leave him at the scoring table, so I always forget to bring him out to get pictures with all the different mascots. But
Okay,
we'll make it happen
maybe
at Worlds. I'll make sure to
Yeah.
bring him around
We'll
and we'll
come
get a
find
photo
you. We'll
there.
come find you.
Perfect.
That's awesome. We have a couple more questions for all of you. Radean, do you have a question for our team here today?
Yeah, what's one of the things you've done this season? And obviously, you had an amazing performance last year. You were Inspire third, you made Worlds. But going into this year, what's one of the things that makes you the most proud about your even more amazing performance?
a lot that we are very proud about going into this season. One of the things that we're very proud about is our outreach. So we have three main initiatives. We have STEM for Them, Press It, and WCP, also known as the Worldwide Connection Project. The main goal of all of these initiatives is to make sure that everybody we come across is not only inspired, but also impacted and feels included by being a part of our community.
And starting a little bit about STEM for Them, one of the biggest goals is extending our reach. So not only do we reach out to young kids through FLL mentoring and then introducing them through workshops, we also reach out to senior citizens, giving them some tech help and allowing them to communicate with their family through digital devices, as that is our world and how it's progressing into.
Yeah, and a little bit about Presta. Presta is kind of like our own custom apparel business that basically lets us not only sustain our team, but we also donate 20% of our proceeds to Holland Boardview Rehabilitation Center for children with disability. So this is kind of how we like impact our community in First and spread the word of First.
Yeah, and last but not least, WCP, also known as the World Connection Project, we've been able to connect with so many teams from all around the world. No matter if they're a rookie team or if they're a senior team, we've been able to make sure that they're not only connecting with us, but they're connecting with so many different others. And through this, they're not only learning from each other, but they're sharing with each other, which is students learning from students.
Yeah, my favorite part about WCPA is this comic book that we made. It's super fun and keeps our kind of creative juices going.
Yeah, because we're putting the A in STEAM.
Nice. That's really awesome.
That's really interesting. And I'm just wondering for a lot of other teams, I mean, obviously you've had this amazing, amazing result. How did you go about thinking of these outreach projects? How did you go about implementing them? And how do you think you managed to balance that with also having such an amazing robot that obviously ended up with you winning the event as the winning partner?
Yeah, so like a little bit about like the balancing part, right? So obviously our team is a pretty big team. We have around 17 members. So like a lot of it comes down to kind of the organization and the planning in our team, right? So we're able to properly delegate our tasks so that we're not only able to create a very good robot for our competitions, we're also able to not only continue our outreach initiatives, but expand on those as well to kind of create new initiatives and new ways to impact our community.
Sorry.
Do you have anything to say?
Yeah. So the reasoning for our outreach initiatives is because we personally saw how the members of our team were affected just growing up before going into the STEM community, but also we noticed the impact that students from around us were not able to like receive as well. So like STEM for Them, for example, like we noticed that members of our team, but also members in our community, were not able to access as many STEM opportunities as they wanted to, or they were able to access in general. So through that, we want to be an accessible, I guess, outlet for others, no matter what or who they are. We just want to make sure that like we're there to support them.
That's really
Yeah, that's
cool.
awesome.
Thank you for doing that. That's such an interesting initiative. And the fact that you're pulling it off, like even connecting with these teams must be a challenge in and of itself, because I know that like it is sometimes hard to like get connections with different teams. So how have you been connecting or like finding ways to, get these teams to, answer your messages and stuff? Are you reaching out to them like using social media mostly?
So for WVP, we're mainly connecting with teams through our social media, through our Instagram. We're also making an effort to cold call them too. And we've also made an effort to actually connect with teams in Canada and in Ontario as well. We understand that it's definitely a little bit hard because of different time zones and scheduling conflicts. But at the end of the day, we do end up finding an opportunity to come meet at once and then just making sure they're all having a lot of fun.
What was your favorite memory from WCP?
I think one of my favorite memories being a part of WCP and help leading it is actually getting to meet so many different people from so many different regions, from like not even like only around the world, but actually in Canada. So recently we met one of the teams from our competitions like online, and we want to know a little bit more about their experiences and how competitions at their school work, but also like how different structures of their team work as well.
What is the furthest team you've connected with? Do you know?
I'm actually not sure. I think maybe somewhere in Asia, probably like Thailand, or maybe somewhere in Europe, maybe like Kazakhstan, Malaysia. We've been like all over around the world,
That's
honestly.
really cool. That's awesome. Going
Your
back
team
to
has
t-shirts for a second. Sorry, Mehak. I think I heard about the t-shirts. Are you making t-shirts for yourselves, or also would you be is there a way for teams to reach out to you to help have you make their t-shirts? Because I know sometimes that's also a struggle for teams.
Yeah, so like our custom apparel business Preston, right? Like it originally started out with just in our school and like around clubs and councils in our school to basically help them buy like affordable merch, right? But it like slowly grew into more than that. It slowly expanded into our community. We're starting to make merch for like businesses, academies, clubs, all those kind of things in our community as well. And one of the most recent kind of projects that we were working on was at the North Scarborough Qualifier, where we helped make volunteer shirts for that event.
That's awesome.
That's super cool. I love how your kind of outreach spans across a lot of different areas. You're putting the A in STEAM, the comic, that's super cool. And then you got these like other aspects with apparel. And I know Swaggy P was a really big fan about your outreach to seniors. So it's super awesome that you are all kind of like touching across different aspects. And I think that kind of shows that versus like a lot more than just the robot. You don't have to only focus on what you're building, but also building outside of like a physical robot. And since your team is going to the World Championship, I'd love to hear like how excited are you all about this? Like, what are you most excited about? What are you most looking forward to? Tell me everything.
So I think for me personally, the thing I'm most excited about is seeing all the different robots at the World Championships. So like obviously like teams from around the country or around the world are coming to compete. So it's so like intriguing to see kind of how they've designed their robot, how they've like incorporated different parts of their robot together and like how it all comes together to produce like their best performance.
Yeah. And since this is our second time going to Worlds, we see this as another opportunity to do even better than before. So that's something super exciting for us as well. I think a really funny answer that came about before this meeting was he was screaming, Texas barbecue!
Yeah, I'm very looking forward to trying some Texas barbecue in Houston.
Yeah, and aside from this Texas barbecue aspect, one thing that I'm personally really excited about is meeting up so many different people from all around the world. As I do help lead the WCP initiative, I want to make sure I have the opportunity to meet the people that I've seen across the screen. Because it's one thing to meet them, I guess, across the screen, but it's one thing to meet them in real life, give them a hug, give them a handshake, just get to see them and savor everything all at once.
Yeah, that'll be really cool. I know like just a really cool thing about our community is that the first community as a whole is that you can meet and be like best friends with people that like you never see in real life. And I've just had countless experiences where like colleagues and friends of mine have like they finally go to an event after 2 years of talking to certain people and friends. They finally go to like a invitational event and it's like I get to see you in person for the first time. And those are always like just really cool. And that's one of the things I really like about Worlds. There's people that I only ever see once a year. And even if we don't plan to meet up, Worlds is just such a cool place where it's like you go to just the different areas and you're bound to run into to some of these people. Even in the hotel lobby, you're bound to run into the people that you know. And it's just really cool to like catch up after a whole year because everyone's doing the same thing that we all love, robots. Speaking of robots, I feel like we kind of buried the lead here. I want you to tell me about your championship winning robot. What does it do? Show us your favorite parts about it.
Yes. Okay. So this robot is actually kind of like accumulation of all of our hard work this season because at the beginning of the season we had a completely different robot and we realized after like our first qualifier that that robot didn't really kind of meet our like standards or our expectations. So we decided to go through a complete rebuild and focus completely on speed and reliability in this one. So our robot kind of starts with this three-stage intake system where the first two are connected by a belt and powered by a single motor on this side of the robot, while the third stage of our intake is on a dead axle and powered by a separate motor on this side. Then we have like a plastic arm that we call the limiter, and it's basically to stop artifacts from shooting prematurely before we want them to shoot. And then our turret. I think my favorite part about this robot is definitely the turret. There's a lot of kind of hard work that's gone into this turret, and it's so compact and so kind of reliable and simplified that it's really amazing to see it actually work. So our turret is able to rotate 360 degrees on a bearing stack. And then we have an adjustable hood as well to basically allow us to shoot from both far and close zone. And we use dual motors to help increase our cycle time. And our flywheel also has a lot of weights in it to increase inertia as well.
That's super cool. So I just want to put this out there before Worlds. My advice is always don't completely take your robot apart, right? We're not going to completely make a brand. Iterations are great, but the day before you leave for Worlds, please do not take the whole thing apart.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that's actually one like the main conversations we've been having a lot with our teachers and mentors is like going forward, how are we going to improve this robot for Worlds and kind of avoiding that whole like rebuild and completely taking apart the robot because it's been performing so well that we want to just continue to build on that and not kind of reset that.
And practice, practice, practice. We love practice.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
That's awesome. I know we have some people in the chat. We got Mr. Ellis, Turtle Pow Wow, saying small iterations, please don't rebuild, keep your ability to revert if needed. So lots of advice, and I guess like kind of the same sentiment. I feel like as easy it is to rebuild, sometimes I fall into that trap. You just like it's like, oh, we need to do this again, start from zero. But I guess it's better to just make those small tweaks. Has there been a favorite part for your team or favorite moment throughout the season so far that I think that really stands out to you or that you think back to, maybe from the provincial championship or any of your events before that?
Yeah, like I think for me personally, one of like the favorite parts during this season was not only at the provincial championships when we got Inspire first and we won that final game that was super, super tight, but it was also during kind of the winter break where our team got together and we had a little bit of like a potluck and we were able to like play games together and we were able to bond together as a team. So that's a moment this season that was like really special to me.
Yeah, and for me as well, I like to build on a little bit of that because I'm a person who loves to connect with people and make sure that I have a very tight bond with them. Being able to connect with my team and become more than just like teammates with them, just becoming friends and family, that truly has like warmed my heart. And sometimes when I'm feeling a little bit down, I always think back to the things that I've done with them, all the connections I've made, and all the experiences that we've had together. And like, especially at the provincial championship, I was feeling really, really nervous. But then they're able to give me some very positive reinforcement. And it was like we were going to do good, but then at the end of the day, we did good. So just transitioning from we will do good to we did good was such a good and positive reinforcement, not only for myself, but for everybody on the team.
Yeah, it was a great feeling seeing all our hard work come to fruition.
That's really
That's amazing. No, that's super awesome. And honestly, you should all be really proud of yourselves. I guess like going through like FTC or FRC, FLL these seasons, there's like so much hard work behind the scenes, and then you have these like moments that feel so rewarding because everything that you kind of like built up to happens. And I love the part that your team does like this potluck to kind of connect outside of the chaos of having to build robots and going through these iterations. Hopefully, once you've had the Texas barbecue, then you can bring that to the next potluck. Or if we have a first potluck, you have to bring that there. I guess you're such big fans.
We talked to.
Thank you so much, team. I know we got to learn so much from all of you, and thank you for sharing your robot, telling us a little bit about your Inspire Award and all of your experience so far. We're all super excited for you to go to the World Championship in Texas and have the best time ever. So thanks for being on our show today.
Thank you so much for having us. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to us at RoBEARtics on Instagram.
Yeah, thank you so
Such
much
a
for having
pleasure.
us.
So
Yeah.
honored to be on the show.
Thank you guys so much. Bye.
We're so grateful to have you.
Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone. And we'll be back right after this quick video. All right, everyone, we're back. I forgot to say a big thank you to Lisa in our kind of previous segment. Thanks for sharing so much about FTC and being such an awesome sport and kind of leading some of the questions. So that was awesome. Our next segment is all about alumni updates. So I'm really excited to invite on First Canada alumni and current First Canada Special Projects Coordinator, Shanika. Welcome, Shanika.
Hi, Mahak. It's so good to see you. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's so great to see you. I feel like I see you once every like couple months, and we're like so excited to see each other. The last time I
Yeah,
think we
it's
saw each other, we had sushi together.
for sure. It's kind of like Lisa mentioned, where it's like these people that you see like once a year, maybe twice a year, but it's still a great time when you're together.
I know. I actually, fun fact for everyone, Shanika is like the best person to go to a restaurant and have her order for you because she knows exactly what everyone wants, gets like the perfect amount of stuff. So if you're looking for like, maybe you should start that as a service, like a professional food orderer
Food
for the
orderer.
group.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you're awesome at that. But I know that today we're not gonna be talking about sushi or like food ordering and stuff. You actually have something really special to share with us. I'm gonna pass over the floor to you. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think if we can pop some of the slides up to our magical producer people that are in the background. I wanted to come on and talk a little bit about the First Canada Alumni Network. Mahak, I know you mentioned that you're an alum and I'm an alum, and Lisa on here was an alum, and some of the students are soon to be alum. And I wanted to talk about what that brings to people in the community and just what that network is all about. I think it's really cool because like what we talked about staying connected with people, even if you just see them once a year, that alum element, I think, does give you access and a bit of a connection automatically to people that you might not see a long time, but they understand just like at the core of your experiences and like all of the really cool things that First has brought. Some of the perks of this alumni network are career connections, tons of opportunities to volunteer, like how we met, mentor teams, as well as like tons of great like community and events that are built through this network, which is awesome. If you want to pop over to the next slide. I think this talks a little bit more about like the career connection elements. First Canada sponsors are hiring. The reality is that they are looking for people that are super duper awesome and know that First Canada students, First students in general, are super duper well-rounded, smart, just like some of the students that we saw right here on the show today. Like they're just so like intelligent and intentional about what they're saying. And that's where the Career Connections, I think, is super duper valuable. With the Career Connections job board, First Canada sponsors and partners and fellow alumni are able to post directly to give you exclusive access to opportunities from companies that already value the skills that we talked about. So the skills like public speaking and problem solving and, you know, like thinking under pressure, which is awesome. So you can go to firstriscanada.org/get-involved/alumni to kind of access and put your name on this list to get some access to Career Connections. We pop over to the next slide, please. In talking about Career Connections, one of the big things that we've been kind of working with and focused on, specifically Jaylene, who's our volunteer and alumni manager, is Pixame. So Pixame is like a platform, which is basically there as like a home of career connections or like a job board. So you can create your profile in a couple minutes, highlight your experiences, projects, and achievements, add a like profile video where I think you can like go ahead and just like showcase a little bit more of your personality, which I think is a really cool factor because I always say I'm way cooler in person than I am on paper. So I think it's an awesome way for people to connect there or get like a really good first impression. You can save the templates and then download it as like an optimized PDF. And then they use like non-biased smart matching technology to help connect you to job opportunities that like align really well with your skills and your interests, because sometimes take it from me, it can be very overwhelming to know like what path to go in. So again, all of that you can kind of have access or get some more information with on the like get involved part of our website for alumni. Next slide, please. This kind of just like goes through and outlines some of the screenshots that are available through Pixame. It's a super, we went through and tried it out and kind of tested it out, and it's a super intuitive platform, which I thought was really nice. It was like a very easy way for you to just like generate your information, and then it does so much of the work for you, which is super cool. If we can pop over to the next slide. I think right here as well, you can go ahead. This is like the reverse side of it, which is really cool, is like you don't always get to see the people looking for people that are posting jobs. And this is awesome because Pixame allows for some of our sponsors, people who already know how cool First Alum are, to go ahead and post jobs so that they can cater it towards skills that students are looking forward to. And then you could on there go ahead and apply for those jobs. So it's really awesome to be able to like have access or some knowledge to both sides of it, which I never thought I would see, and which is what makes Pixme like pretty unique in terms of like a platform compared to other ones as well. Go to the next slide, please. Some of the resources that we have available are Alumni Corner. So this is like a series of info sessions and workshops presented by First Canada alum. There's tons of topics like application strategies, applying to Canadian and American universities, volunteering as an alum, securing internships and co-op opportunities. And I always say like one of my favorite things, or what I think is super important within First, is a lot of the time you can see so many students leading students, or people like alum leading alum, which is like awesome to see, that people are taking these experiences that they've had to then go and help other people. So I would say like the advice or from the Alumni Corner, or some of the experiences and stories shared in the Alumni Corner, which I think Mehak has actually been a part of, are just like real life experiences that people are able to share, and bringing it to like a very realistic idea of what to expect, which I think is a pretty cool way to approach a lot of different things. If we go to the next slide, please. The last, but certainly not least, is the alumni celebration that's happened every year for the past couple years. It's basically a way for us to recognize and really highlight the amazing people that our alum are. It's going to be hosted every year at our FRC Provincial Championships, which is at the Niagara Falls Convention Center this year. I think all the details are on the invitation. We're going to go ahead and present the Alumni of Distinction Award, have like a ceremony, a really good way to, again, make those in-person connections, which I think is so important at these events, for you to be connected with alum, talking about, people who went on internship that you might want to go on, or meeting people that are working in industry and what cool things they're doing. Alongside the alumni celebration, we have what we like to call Alumni Alley, which is another really cool way of showcasing what our alum are capable of. So we have companies come in and present and have like a booth that share different opportunities that their companies have. They share like, physical like robots and different cool and innovative ideas, just to like inspire people to go ahead and connect with them. I think that's my last slide. But I guess like if I will leave you with a couple notes is First Canada alum are like honestly some of the most incredible and special people, and connecting with them is like something that I think you can always benefit from. So I recommend taking every opportunity to do that.
Thanks for sharing all of that, Shanika. Honestly, I'm super excited about the platform, especially when we were kind of like going through it earlier in the days. I know there's lots of like really cool comments in the
Mhm.
chat. Everyone is super excited. And I think the first kind of alumni community and all the resources that you get, I think you really like understand how broad it is once you get out
Mhm.
of like once you're kind of in the alumni community or finishing high school and going into university. I remember like
Sure.
my like second week at university, all I was like scouting for were like first robotic cities, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I know who you are. I know, like, oh, we can be friends. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like
Just like
such a
a
cool
friendly
network, and especially,
face, for sure.
yeah, no, it's so awesome. Even now, sometimes at school, if I see like any type of like FTC or FLL or FRC hoodie, I'm like, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
grew
it's
up
like
the
it's
same.
weird. Yeah. Exactly. You're built the same.
We had a couple questions in the chat actually. I think
Sure.
someone in the chat was asking, is there an age limit for the jobs that they'll be applying to?
Yeah, I think the jobs vary depending on what sponsors are looking for. So if they're looking for like co-op students or interns to have to work with them, the age would be like kind of applicable to what that role is. And then there's tons for after university or later in your industry as well.
Awesome. Super accessible too. I guess kind of a lot of different groups and people that are applying for maybe short-term
Exactly.
positions or more long-term positions. I
Exactly.
know, Radean, you're not a First Canada alumni yet, but you will be soon, maybe in a couple years. Is there like a part of kind of like any aspect of First Canada alumni that you're really looking forward to, that you think was super exciting? I know, Shanika, you talked about a lot of different kind of aspects.
Yeah.
Sorry, I still have a bit of a cold from Provs, but yeah, I think meeting all the other alumni at events like FRC Provs, just the depth of knowledge that they have, all the industries that they work in, and how much you can learn from all of them is really something that everyone that does First can benefit from. It's really inspiring to just see all of the amazing things that First alumni have gone on to do. And so I'm really excited to, in 1 or 2 years, come back to FRC Provincials, hopefully, and talk to those alumni to learn from them and to hopefully follow in their footsteps.
Hmm. Yeah, it's again, like Mehak said, it's like a really cool network of people that you always have like at least one thing in common or like a shared experience in, which is super special.
Yeah, I think especially that alumni alley that's going to be at FRC Provincials, I feel like you get to meet so many different folks, and especially if you've been kind of, I guess, out of First for a couple years, it's like
Hmm.
such a good way to come back or volunteer at events, like good way to stay connected. And I
For
know
sure.
that the First Canada alumni kind of like, I guess, network has all of those opportunities, so that's really awesome. And I love the alumni connected videos and the video series that you were mentioning.
For
I
sure.
see some of my fellow youth council members or
Hmm.
previous youth council member alumni on there, and there's also lots of cool tidbits. I think I had a quick question for you, Shanika, about Pixame. I know it sounds super cool and honestly something that I definitely would use, especially because like the job application kind of like process is always
Hmm.
um, so convoluted and there's like so much going on, different platforms you can use, and it's like
Right.
how do I find people that are kind of looking for similar talent that's in like First, or I can include it onto my resume. Is there
Mhm.
anything about Pixame that you think makes it more unique or different from any like traditional kind of hiring platforms like LinkedIn or things like that?
Yeah, I think the element about Pixabay that I think I find a little bit of comfort in or knowing is that I know that they're looking for people like me versus like the opposite. Like I think a lot of other platforms, like we mentioned, it's like a lot about like, putting yourself out there, which is super important to learn how to do. But I think what's unique about Pixabay is like I know that they're tailored towards some skills because we've already shrunk the pool to work within like sponsors or people that are specifically looking for first people or first students. I think that's a really cool element. And also, like I mentioned, the platform's like very intuitive to use, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, I love the UI on it, especially in kind of the
Yeah.
screenshots that you were sharing, that it looked really easy to use and kind of
Hmm.
friendly. And it was nice that we got to see the other side that we usually
Hmm.
don't see. It was like, what does it look like for someone that is hiring? What's their experience like? So that was super
Exactly.
awesome that you could share that. We had another question in the chat. Someone was asking, do I need any experience to apply for these jobs?
Mm.
I know First, being in First is an experience itself. Like that's a huge experience. I put it on my resume all the time.
I was just gonna say it's kind of interesting because I think sometimes people don't or they underestimate themselves or they don't necessarily realize what skills they have. And then I hear first students talk about like, I just pitched my presentation to like an entire room full of people or experts in the industry and did all these things. And I'm like, those are super useful skills. Like those are incredible public speaking skills or, strategic like marketing skills that you've developed that you might not realize. So no, you don't need any specific experience, but also don't underestimate the experience that you have because first is giving you a lot more than you think.
Yeah, that's totally for sure. I know especially when I talk about first in like interviews or resumes, it's like so similar or the type of experience that you get is so similar to the workplace
Mhm.
because at work you're solving like these problems, you have a short time frame, you have to build a solution with specific constraints, very similar to kind of the types of problem or I guess like types of work that you're doing at first. I know we had the FLL team talk about their kind of decision matrix, which I thought was so mind-blowing, especially like just so much smart things are happening at that like
Exactly.
being in grade 6 or being in grade 8 or grade 7. And I know Radine, when you talk about some of like the work that you're doing on the youth council or doing on your FTC team and the fact that you're mentoring another team as well, I think that shows just like such a high caliber of kind of experience that you've built and definitely things that can translate over into your resume. And there's lots of impact with first and lots of companies love to see impact because it shows that you have actually done something. So like including that in kind of like your application and right starting off with the impact and then showing what you've done after um, is super awesome. I guess Radine, for you, is there like a specific maybe skill that you think about that like you think is important to highlight or that you would want to highlight kind of in the future when it comes to like your experience with first?
Yeah, I think even beyond just the technical skills that you get, the programming, the build design, the CAD, one of the really important things that first kind of gives you the chance to do is work in an actual team environment that's not just a school project, but really you working with other people to try and deliver a functional product on time. And so having that experience and having that confidence in your own skills and your ability to work with other people to actually deliver on a product is really, really important. And I think it's definitely something that's improved a lot from my experience at first.
Yeah, that's so true. There's lots of like team building, dealing with team conflict, like assessing everyone's skills, trying to figure out what place everyone kind of works the best. So that's so true. And you kind of see that team environment in every company. And I think one thing that I've definitely seen as I went through like all of these different co-ops at Waterloo is that sometimes the students that I worked with that were from first had such like a high caliber of detail and kind of work product. And the way that they worked with teams was so different because they were already used to being in this environment, being really communicative, like always kind of being on top of it and knowing how to respond with like empathy and kindness. So I think like your point about teamwork is definitely super true and definitely stands out in the workplace. So that's super awesome. I guess Shanika, for you, is there anything that you're most looking forward to when it comes to the First Canada Alumni Network or any upcoming items or kind of experiences that you're really excited about?
Yeah, I always love seeing First Canada alum as like volunteers, and that's who I tend to work with a ton at our events. Just because they really put their students first, I find, in terms of like making sure that they're having a good experience because they were in their shoes, which I think is super awesome, and it's always such a privilege to work with volunteers in general, but especially those who are First Canada alum.
That's so true. But yeah, thank you so much, Shanika. I know
Of
we got
course,
lots
thanks for
of
having me.
really great kind of advice and experience, and I'm super excited at Pixame and all of the really cool, I guess, First Canada alumni initiatives that are happening. And hopefully at FRC Provincials, I'll see all of you at the Alumni Alley or kind of different parts at FRC Provincials as well. So thank you for spending some time with us here. And I guess, Radine, this kind of wraps up the end of our show today. It was super great hearing from all of our different speakers, folks from our community, our FTC team, our FLL team, Lisa as well pitching in, and then now Shanika telling us about the alumni. What are your thoughts so far, Radine? How is your anything that stands out from our conversation today?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really amazing to just see the depth of talent that we have in the first community, seeing people as young as the students on the FLL team with really, really advanced team building organization strategies, talking to RoBEARtics and getting an idea of their amazing outreach, their amazing robot design process, and then seeing how those younger students from FLL, from FTC can grow up and have such an amazing impact as alumni was really, really inspiring to me. Did you have any thoughts?
I thought it was awesome. I feel like it was like such a natural progression of the show. We talked to like an FLL team, we went on to an FTC team, then we talked about alumni. It felt like kind of told like the story of first and what first students kind of go through, and some of the challenges that they solve and what they're most excited about. So it was awesome, and I was really excited to kind of be a part of the show, which is super exciting. I know that our next show is happening on March 17th, and we're going to be talking about some FRC event recaps. We have Humber and Durham that are happening the weekend before, so we'll get lots of great insight from all of our folks. And thank you to everyone for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to the First Canada Twitch channel. Also check out our Spotify and Apple Music, where our podcast is going to be, and turn on notifications so you know when the next First Canada Live episode is happening. A big shout out to my co-host, Radean, for doing such an awesome job, being so awesome with all of his questions. And it was so great to chat with you, Radean. And I love the Youth Council hat. I'm so jealous that we didn't have that when I was in the Youth Council. And a big shout out to our producers. Thank you for being so awesome, handling everything behind the scenes. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you on March 17th with our next episode. Bye, everyone.